there, good evening and welcome to the Sunday edition of This Is Exclusive. 3 stories, 3 exclusive elements. We are going to focus on the mess Pakistan is in when it comes to the Pashtun movement. Are we going to see a clash between the Pashtun rebels and the Pakistani army in Islamabad when it is hosting the SCO summit? Also, the manner in which the killing of Baba Siddique panned out in Maharashtra. Are there going to be political consequences of that? Also, in Haryana, postmortem continuing with farmer leaders panning the Congress for the manner in which it conducted its campaign, thus losing. All that and more. Let's begin with the headlines. Mumbai police have identified 4 suspects in the Baba Siddique murder case, out of which 2 are already arrested and taken on remand. Lawrence Bishnoi linked to Baba Siddique killing emerges. Sources say that Mumbai police sleuths are in Sabarmati to question Bishnoi. BKU chief Gurnam Singh Charuni claims that farmers created favourable atmosphere for the Congress party in Haryana. Farmer leader also blamed Bhupinder Singh Hooda for the poll debacle. Shiv Sena UBD chief Uddhav Thackeray has said the MVA will announce CM face after the Shinde-led government discloses their candidate. The Karnataka BJP claims that Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge's son Priyank Kharge wrote to the CEO of Karnataka Industrial Areas Development Board seeking cancellation of the ownership of the 5-acre plot allotted. Welcome back, friends. Pakistan is in an economic mess, and Pakistan is in an internal security crisis, and Pakistan is also facing insurgencies that could break the country along ethnic lines. 2 such insurgencies are that of the Baloch and the Pashtuns in Balochistan and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa provinces, respectively. Last week, Pakistan government filed an FIR against Baloch leader Maharang Baloch and banned the Pashtun independence group Pashtun Tahaffuz movement, the PTM. Yesterday, its leader Manzoor Pashtun has thrown the gauntlet at the Pakistani establishment and the army. He suggested that like the Bengalis took off the pants of the Pak army, the Pashtuns could give them a broken jaw. Strong words there, coming as they do ahead of the SCO summit which Pakistan is hosting this week, indicate the possibility of leading to a law and order situation in Islamabad. Let's listen to what Pashtun said on the other side. I'm joined in by Mr. Tilak Devashar, a known author on books on Pakistan, former Special Secretary of the Cabinet Secretariat, and of course an expert on our neighbor. Let's listen into Pashtun first.
ये सुन ले, चीफ आर्मी स्टाफ सुन ले, DGISI सुन ले, कोर कमांडर सुन ले, बलूचिस्तान में है या खैबर पख्तूनख्वा में है, आप सुन ले। अगर यही तर्ज है जो आप लोगों ने अपनाया हुआ है, इस तर्ज के साथ पख्तून आपके साथ नहीं वक्त गुजारेंगे, नहीं रहना चाहेंगे, ऐसा नहीं चलेगा। हम गुलाम है, आप तारीख देख ले। फिरंग आया था हमारे सरजमीन पर, औरंग आया था, बड़े बड़े ताकतवर आए थे, उन्होंने इस सरजमीन पर कब्जा तो किया था, मगर उनका अंजाम देख लो कि आज वो हमारे सरजमीन को दूर से भी नहीं देख सकते हैं। लिहाजा हमें किसी और शक्ल में इस्लामाबाद आने पर मजबूर न करो। और मेरे दोस्त, बेगैरतों की जिंदगी नहीं गुजार सकते हैं, हम मजबूर है। एक बार फिर कहते हैं, मजबूर किया जा रहा है हमें। सुन ले कि ये आपके फायदे में नहीं होगा, आपको बहुत नुकसान पहुंचेगा। अगर इस मुल्क के मीडिया में जुर्रत है, इनके कैंट के दरवाजे में बताऊंगा कि कौन कौन दहशतगर्द अंदर जाता है और बाहर आता है। पूरे मुल्क में ना मालूम अफराद नहीं है, सिर्फ पख्तून बेल्ट में है, और वो लोग जो हमारे हक की बात करते हैं उनको मारते हैं। वो अल्लाह अपने वतन के लिए हमारे सर भी कुर्बान है, एहतजाज की जरूरत है, एहतजाज करते हैं। मगर अगर ये जर्नल न आईन मानते हैं, न इस्लाम मानते हैं, न रवायात मानते हैं, सिर्फ बदमाशी मानते हैं, तो फिर हमारे पख्तूनों का तारीख सुनो कि बदमाशों का हम क्या हाल बनाते हैं। बंगालियानो तो दुईना पतलूनों ना बासलियो, बंगालियों ने उनके पतलून निकाले थे, पख्तून और बलोच उनके छमड़े निकालेंगे।
All right, joining us live, Mr. Tilak Devashar, author on many books on Pakistan, former Special Secretary of the Cabinet Secretariat, and of course, member of the National Security Advisory Board. Very good evening to you, sir. You heard Manzoor Pashtun there, very strong words. He's saying Firang and Aurangzeb came here and lost. Is he really throwing a big challenge to the Pakistan army that this far no further, and that the Pashtuns are really going to take the battle to Islamabad now?
Hi Abhishek, thank you for having me over. Yes, see right now there is a 3-day Pashtun Qawmi Jirga, which is a National Assembly of the Pashtuns, which is being held. This is the fourth probably in the series which is being held, where the national question of the Pashtun, you see, for the last 40 years, ever since the Soviet Union invaded Afghanistan in 1979, the whole Pashtun area especially has been in turmoil. And this turmoil is extended to both sides of the Durand line. So unless and until the Pashtuns themselves are able to formulate a common consensus on the way forward, they are going to continue to be in turmoil. So what they are yearning for is peace. And they are telling the Pakistan government, especially the army, that don't treat us as cannon fodder for your foreign policy goals anymore. We will not accept terrorism. We don't want landmines in our area. We want to live in peace and to enjoy the same rights that the Pakistan Constitution gives to the Punjabis. We want schools, we want education, we want hospitals in our areas. We don't want to fight. And the PTM, the Pashtun Tahafuz movement, is a peaceful civil rights movement. They're not rebels, they're not asking for separation, they're just asking for their rights. But if they are pushed to the wall, as Manzoor Pashtun was saying, then they will have no other option but to adopt a different means. I think it's a very fair warning that he has given to the government.
Sir, it's a strong warning. In fact, alluding to what the Bengalis did, obviously there is a hint that, you know, it can turn militant and it can lead to a division of the country. I mean, he's using strong words there.
Yeah, true. Because, you know, they've really been pushed to the wall. I mean, they carried out certain studies, you know, about, and, you know, I'll just read it out to you what they've calculated. 76,000 Pashtuns have been killed in the last 20 years. 6,700 are missing. 7,500 are disabled. 5.7 million are displaced, of which 2.3 million are homeless. You know, this goes on. So this is the kind of impact that Pakistan's policy of foreign policy goals, trying to sit on the high table, has had on the Pashtuns. So they are now fed up. They said, no more. We are not going to accept this, what you have treated us as. And they also bring in the Baloch, because the Baloch have also reached the end of the line. You know, the way the missing persons and the kind of oppression in Balochistan. So you have both the nationalities which are in the frontier areas, Balochistan and in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, the Pashtuns, are in a very unsettled state. And Pakistan really needs to get its act together, deal with the issue. After all, both these are civil rights movements.
Yeah.
They're not separatist movements. They have to deal with them imaginatively and bring them back from the brink. I don't see that happening, unfortunately, because there are very few people in Pakistan who has a vision and an understanding of this issue. They've outsourced these two provinces to the Pakistan army. And you know, the army, all that it does, the only thing that army knows is to hit people.
Very
As the saying goes, if all that you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. You know, so unko maro. But that is not going to work with the Pashtuns and the Baloch for long.
Yeah, you very rightly said that the Pakistani state lacks imagination to deal with this situation. So look at what has happened this past week. There has been an FIR against Marang Baloch, and that was after she was stopped from traveling to New York to receive an award. and then the Pakistan, the Pashtun Tahaffuz movement, the PTM itself has been banned, and perhaps that was seen as provocative because it came just ahead of the Jirga. You think this is going to precipitate a crisis immediately, say this week when Pakistan is holding the SCO summit? Because we have seen both these rebel groups, these civil rights groups, as also the government there in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa of Ali Amin Gandapur. He's also saying he's going to protest at D Chowk and create a situation there when the SCO summit is happening. So obviously the Pakistani state has a lot of things on its hands to handle.
Yeah, I think, when they saw, though the government had banned the PTM on Sunday, the thousands of people that were moving towards the Jirga, the government realized that they will not be able to stop this without bloodshed. So they backtracked. They lifted the ban on the PTM and authorized the Chief Minister of KPK, Ali Amin Gandapur, to talk to them and to come to some sort of a resolution. And then Gandapur said that the state government, the provincial government, will help the PTM in organizing the Jirga. They will take care of the logistics, the tents, the food and things. So basically trying to diffuse the confrontation. So we don't know what the resolutions of the Jirga will be. They'll probably take place tonight. So we'll come to know a day or two. But the immediate confrontation that the government, that looked like would take place if they prevented the Jirga from taking place, that has been diffused. So now let's see how radical or what they say in the resolutions. So that's one part of it.
Yeah.
The other part of it in Islamabad for the SCO is that Imran Khan is dug in his heels and he's insisting that his party get together, come to Islamabad on the 15th, the day of the SCO summit. Now that again, Ali Amin Gandapur will lead. Like last week also, he led a huge caravan into Islamabad. Of course, there was some confusion on where he disappeared thereafter. But if the PTI workers, and basically they are from KPK, but that is where the provincial government is. If they stage a march to Islamabad at a time when the foreign guests will be there for the SCO, that could lead to violence and could lead to a lot of problems for the government to handle at a time when they want to showcase their best.
Yeah. So my last question before I let you go, sir. Between the Baloch movement and the Pashtun movement, and the position that Taliban has clearly taken, saying that we have nothing to do with this, and that Pakistan should be treating its Pashtuns well. I think there is a bit of a pincer there for the Pakistani army to handle. You think that this can really precipitate into a kind of movement which can ultimately lead to, if not complete breakup of Pakistan, then a situation where the state effectively does not exist in these two provinces?
There is a possibility because the Taliban have not accepted the Durand line. The British era line that demarcated initially spheres of influence between British India and Afghanistan, and later on, according to the British and the Pakistani, it has become an international border. Similarly, the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, which is a Pakistan-based militant and armed group, they don't accept the Durand line either. So, once again, if Pakistan does not handle this, imaginatively, the Durand line status is going to be in jeopardy. Twice in the past, and Pakistan is desperate to get the Taliban to agree to the Durand line. So when the Taliban came into power in August 21, this is one of the things they thought, that the Taliban will be beholden to them and will accept the sanctity or the international status of the Durand line. The Taliban said nothing doing. We don't accept this because this entire land is Pashtun land and we cannot accept it. So Pakistan is really in a quandary. So that is the pincer movement. The TTP on this side of the Durand line and Taliban from the other side of the Durand line.
So I'm just letting you go one more question, sir, before. You mentioned about the resolutions that the Jirga might pass. What's your sense, with all the deep understanding you have, you think it can precipitate an immediate crisis? Like, can there be a call that they will march to Islamabad and they would demand something of the government immediately?
It's very difficult to say. I can't fathom the mood that if it continues to be hostile or because the government is helping them organize it, they will soften whatever they have to say. So we'll just have to wait and watch. But if you go by the 22 Jirga, they passed 25 resolutions, and key amongst them was not accepting the fencing of the Durand line. They called for a lower Jirga in Afghanistan and elections to elect an inclusive government. And they talked about women's rights and, a whole host of other issues. There was nothing, no hint of separation. There was no hint of Pakhtunkhwa or anything like that. Now, in 2 years' time, how much further they have gone. So I think it's better to wait and watch for another 2 days to see what actually comes out of the resolution.
All right. Thank you so much, sir, on that note. We'll, of course, keep a close track of the developments in Pakistan over the week. Of course, also because External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar is going to be there in Islamabad to participate in the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit. Thank you so much, Mr. Devesha, for joining us with that perspective. And moving on, around a week after the Haryana election results, the bickering continues to hit the Congress and organizations that supported the Grand Old Party. Bharatiya Kisan Union President Gurnam Singh Chaduni has expressed his dissatisfaction over the poll results and admitted that the organization created a favorable environment for the Congress through farmers' protests. The farmer leader also blamed Bhupinder Singh Hooda for the Congress party's defeat. This is actually a big admission that the farmers' protests were not organic, that they were orchestrated by a bunch. Remember, Gurnam Singh Chaduni actually contested and he lost, and miserably. He got only 1,170 seats. So whether he's actually a farm leader or he's just a proxy to be carrying out those protests, where he admits the objective was to create an atmosphere in favor of the Congress party, which ultimately failed because of the intransigence showed by the Congress leadership, particularly that by Bhupinder Singh Hooda. Let's listen into exactly what Gurnam Singh Chaduni has said.
मैं ये मानता हूँ कि जो भूपेंद्र हुड्डा है वो अति बुद्धिहीन है। हरियाणा में जो माहौल बनाया कांग्रेस के पक्ष में वो हमने बनाया था, वो किसान वर्ग ने बनाया था। किसान चलो मेरे को नहीं दी थी, दूसरे 2 किसान लीडरों को दे देता, कम से कम लोगों के अंदर ये तो जाता कि हाँ अब किसानों का कौन है जी, बीजेपी वैसे किसानों की तो हमने कांग्रेस नजदीक नहीं लगाती, फिर कहाँ जाएंगे ये। इसलिए हम आप खड़े हुए, रमेश दलाल खड़ा हुआ, हर्ष शिकारा खड़ा हुआ, मैं खड़ा हुआ, और भी कई लोग प्रयास में थे लेकिन वो नहीं हो पाए।
तो सबसे बड़ी वजह क्या रही कांग्रेस की हार की, आप अगर गुरनाम चडूनी से पूछा जाए सबसे बड़ी वजह?
मैं बता रहा हूँ ना, सबसे बड़ी वजह ये रही कि इसने किसी से समझौता नहीं किया और कांग्रेस ने इसके ऊपर छोड़ दी। और अब भी मैं आपके माध्यम से कहना चाहता हूँ कांग्रेस हाईकमान को कि अब भी जो विपक्ष का नेता बनाना है वो भूपेंद्र हुड्डा को ना बनाएं, क्योंकि पिछले 10 सालों में भूपेंद्र हुड्डा ने विपक्ष की भूमिका नहीं निभाई, किसान यूनियन ने विपक्ष की भूमिका निभाई थी, भूपेंद्र हुड्डा ने विपक्ष की भूमिका नहीं निभाई। और अगर आगे भी ऐसा रहा तो फिर आगे भी मत उम्मीद करना कि कांग्रेस का राज आएगा। अच्छी भूमिका निभानी पड़ेगी विपक्ष की इनको, और वो मजबूत विपक्ष चाहिए, उसके लिए लड़ने वाला आदमी इनको आगे करना पड़ेगा।
All right, we are cutting live to pictures coming in from Kolkata of farmers' protests, I beg your pardon, the doctors' protests in Justice for Abhaya campaign. These are live pictures coming in from Kolkata. Let's listen to them. We have a reporter there.
কিন্তু এই উৎসবটা আমাদের কাছে বিচারের উৎসব, এটা কোনো আনন্দের উৎসব, দ্রোহের উৎসব। আমি সাধারণ মানুষ, আমি বলতে চাই উনি গদিতে বসে কি করছেন, উনি নিচে নামুক, নালে আমাদের কথা শুনুক। আমাদের ভাইরা বসে আছে, আমাদের ছেলে সন্তান বসে আছে, আমরা বিচার চাই, বিচার চাই। আর কতদিন চলবে? আমরা মমতা বন্দ্যোপাধ্যায়ের কাছে জিজ্ঞাসা রাখতে চাইছি, আমরা উত্তর চাইছি, আর পারছি না আমরা সহ্য করতে। ডাক্তারদের এই কষ্ট আমরা নিতে পারছি না, আমাদের সাধারণ মানুষের জন্য এই কষ্ট।
আজকে যখন মায়ের কৈলাসে ফেরার
All right, these are protesters demanding justice for Abhaya, or whatever Bangla I could pick up. The angry women want unanswerability from Mamata Bandyopadhyay, Mamata Banerjee. See the emotions there. They're crying still. It's been more than a month. And because they believe, or they get a sense that justice has not been done and neither seem to be done, and that the Mamata government seems to be insensitive. Remember last time when there was a doctor on hunger strike and had to be admitted to the ICU, there was an insensitive comment coming from a top bureaucrat saying that we'll look into it after the festival period is over. And that's getting reflected in this sentiment on the ground, where people, despite this being festive Pujo season in Kolkata and Bengal, coming out in these huge numbers with that angry voice, really very representative of the kind of sentiment that's there on the ground at the manner in which the Mamata Banerjee government has handled the crisis coming out of that very unfortunate rape and murder and the crime that took place in RG Kaur Medical Hospital and College campus on September 9 and August 9, and this continues. And Mamata government there, having been cornered on the streets, cornered in the courts, getting into hibernation mode. These protests, however, continue, and we, of course, are bringing to you all updates on Justice for Abhaya campaign. This is our Bangla channel live there from Kolkata. This is essentially the protests around the hunger strike. Those 6 doctors who are sitting on hunger strike, they have led to another round of mobilization of street protests, and these sentiments are to be seen, to be believed. All right, moving on. Last evening, Baba Siddique, a leader of the NCP Ajit Pawar group, which is part of the Mahayuti Alliance government in Maharashtra, was shot dead while coming out of his office at around 9 p.m. And it seems that the Lawrence Bishnoi gang, which is after Salman Khan, after the episode in Rajasthan where he killed a deer, has taken responsibility that they killed Baba Siddique because Baba Siddique happened to be a friend of Salman Khan. That seems to be the angle there. Of course, there is another aspect of business rivalry which the cops are investigating, but larger focus on Lawrence Bishnoi, who is behind bars, in fact, in Sabarmati jail, where a Mumbai crime branch team has already reached. And for all the details of this murder and crime in Mumbai, let's look at what Deepak brings you.
Public has also gotten you the blow-by-blow details on what exactly happened and what is the planning that probably went into before the assassination of Baba Siddique, the NCP leader, who was also very close to the Bollywood actor circle as well. First, the police suspect that the accused, the shooters, conducted a recce before they got close to their targets. And this is not all, viewers. We have more details that are tumbling out because initially, the assassins, in fact, tried to kill Baba Siddique, but their attempts failed. And that's because of Baba Siddique's Y+ security cover, because the security was elaborate and there were NSGs as well with him in his security cover. So the initial attempt had failed of these assailants. Now, what we know so far is that the shooters, just moments before they shot at Baba Siddique, they arrived in a regular black and yellow taxi. And after that, the shooter shot Siddique as he left his Bandra office. And after shooting him, they tried to even escape. We'll get to those details a bit further, but the details of the shootout is that they fired 3 to 4 rounds at Baba Siddique, out of which 2 rounds hit Baba Siddique in the chest, which led to bleeding, and the resuscitation was not possible. So the hospital had declared him dead because he had lost a lot of blood in the process. So now, after the shooting, the assailants even tried to flee the spot, but their attempts to escape was foiled because they had a pre-planned escape plan as well, but that was foiled because the police were quick to nab the suspects, because the police managed to nab 2 out of the 3 killers. The third killer, named Shiva, is currently on the run. Now let's get you more details because after the escape bit, the police have identified these assailants. Now, the first assailant is Gurmail Baljeet Singh, who's a 23-year-old who's a resident of Kaithal in Haryana. And the second shooter who was arrested is, let me tell you, first, this is Gurmail Baljeet Singh. He's also linked to the Bishnoi gang. He stayed in Kurla since September. They got an apartment. They rented out an apartment in Kurla. They stayed there. And the second assailant who was arrested is Dharmaraj Rajesh Kashyap, who's a 19-year-old who is from Bahraich in Uttar Pradesh. He also resided in the same flat as Gurmail because they both had gotten an accommodation in Kurla in September. And since September, they had been living there. And both of them have their links to the Bishnoi gang. So this is what we have uncovered so far. Now, the third suspect that we're about to talk to you about is Shiva. Shiva is currently on the run, and he's also from Bahraich in Uttar Pradesh. And the cops, the probe agency, suspect that he could also be linked to the Bishnoi gang. So the police are all set to question Lawrence Bishnoi in the Sabarmati jail. But this is the detail that we have about the assailants. Now, let's talk about the contract, because the shooters apparently received an advance payment before the hit job on Baba Siddique in Bandra yesterday. And the larger reward was promised to them post the assassination. So their pre-planned escape bid foiled. They were nabbed, and the larger reward post-assassination was never possible. And the third assailant is currently on the run. Now, what could have been the possible motives behind the killing of Baba Siddique? One is the slum rehabilitation dispute, because in August, Baba Siddique's son, Zishan, and others were booked because they tried to obstruct the officials of the SRA during the survey in Bandra East. So this is one of the possible motives behind the murder. And the second motive behind the murder is Siddique's proximity to Salman Khan, because Baba Siddique was very close to the Bollywood circle. He had close ties with Salman Khan. In fact, he was very instrumental in brokering a truce between Shah Rukh Khan and Salman Khan. So probably the larger plot was get to Baba Siddique first, and then it could have been another target.